So my thinking is that unconditional love is connected to universalism. And this is really a lot to get into, the whole religious argument about Puritans, Pilgrims, Antinomians, and Arminianism. But a really good book for that is this one. It's by Kathleen Kimball Melanakis, and she explains all the different religious theories that were going on and how they are argued out in the Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith's father was a Universalist, but Lucy Mack, his mother, was not. The big bugaboo to a lot of the Christian world remains Universalism. And I'm going to go back to the article that I quoted way at the beginning of this series because there were parts of it that I liked and agreed with. I think that I am an experiential Universalist because of my own experiences with deity. I also believe many of the stories coming from people with near-death experiences, the majority of which speak of an unconditionally loving God. So what's the big deal, you might ask? The big deal about conditional love versus universal love is what you see in the Mormon Church. Think about the parable that Dale Renlund and his wife told in the 2019 conference. The message of Mormonism is if you do not toe the party line, we are going to throw you away. God abandoned the boy to his choices. Only a conditionally loving God or parent would put their kid out of the boat and back in the water, knowing full well that they would perish. This author makes a really good point. This is an if-then situation. If God really wants us to turn toward the kingdom of God, then God can't just abandon us to our choices. And I also like how he argues in favor of, we're human. How are we supposed to make right choices if sometimes our thinking is skewed or our feelings are skewed, or most importantly, if our affections are broken? I love how he says, and this is my favorite line in the whole article, that what sets us free and ties us to God is having our affections healed. And that's the way that I can describe what happened to me, how I've found the source or the deity in this universe. There is something out there that loves us. And I like what this says. Universalism envisions God's tireless and eternal involvement in bringing this healing to completion. That makes sense with Jewish theology that talks about perhaps people coming back. That makes sense with reincarnation. And that makes sense with a book I read by George MacDonald called Lilith.